What's up, y'all? It's me, it's your boy Asmongold, and today we're going to look at how to gear and prepare for challenge modes in Warlords of Draenor. Now, I did one of these for Mists of Pandaria, and I thought it went pretty well, and so we're going to do another one, and this one is actually going to be a lot simpler and a lot more easy to understand, and it's not like you're going to have to go across Draenor and collect all of these weird little items, because none of them work in a challenge mode, and so that makes things a lot easier for you. And so it's not as much, I guess, like prep work. You just go in there and play correctly, and you get it done. So the first thing that you guys probably need to know is that the tertiary stats, so that's like life leech and like avoidance and like all that stuff that like your items can roll like as a third stat. Those things are they're just purely deactivated in challenge modes. And so if you have something like that, just walk into a challenge mode. And if you have like 1% life leech, walk into a challenge mode and it's going to be gone. And so all that kind of stuff just doesn't even matter. So don't worry about that. And the same thing goes for gem slots. And so if you have an item with a gem slot in it and you walk into the challenge mode, you're going to lose like that 50 critical strike rating or whatever else because the gem slot is effectively just deactivated. It doesn't matter. It's like it doesn't even exist. And so what that does is it makes it a lot easier for you to collect the gear that you need. And that's the main thing that we're going to be talking about here is that how to collect and where to get the gear that you need. Now, there are a couple of different ways to get it, and all gear scales down to 630 in a challenge mode, and if it scales up beyond that, you're probably exploiting. So I honestly have no idea how to do that. So the point is 630 is the cap, and so if you get something under 630, that kind of sucks. But I know there's a couple of little exceptions with like a couple hunter trinkets are really good before they did the nerf to like procs or something like that. But I am not an expert on that. Either way, it becomes even more important because you can't like kind of like outgear the challenge mode in a way like you were able to in Warlords of Draenor with like having a bunch of sockets and like you've done Li Shan 46 times and you finally got the Soul Prism or whatever that has 2 sockets in it, and so it makes challenge modes way easier. It's none of that. And so that makes it a lot easier to get gear, but it also makes the challenge modes harder if you're trying to actually get geared out and do them. So the main thing that you want to do is make sure that you have all of your slots and your trinkets are going to be the best possible for your class. And so make sure that like as a warrior, like for arms, that's what you're really going to play in a challenge mode. You're going to want to have like crit, mastery, and multi-strike. So if you've got any versatility, any haste on your gear, you're doing it wrong. And so that's just one example. It's not like that's the only example. Like there's 100 other examples that you can use. And so I don't pretty much if you have versatility on anything, I'm pretty sure you don't want it for challenge modes because that's like the worst stat for everyone. But point is, you want to make sure that you go in there as prepared as possible, and so make sure that you have all of your gear correctly itemized and with optimal stats for your class in each slot. And so make sure you have weapons with like for me like crit mastery and like helmet with crit mastery and necklace with crit mastery and a chest piece maybe crit multi strike, something like that, so you have maximum damage potential. And so either way, that's probably the main thing. And so make sure that you like check like the follower missions. You get those little tokens like on Timeless Isle. You can get those little follower mission tokens and click on those, open those. Sometimes those will give you gear. You can buy PvP gear. That scales down to 630 if it's the 660 version. And so there's tons of different ways to get it. You can get it from highmaul. There are some items even from highmaul for warriors. It's just like really unlikely. All 3 of the items for warriors that are good in highmaul, you can use those in challenge modes as well. And so either way, and if you're a strength DPS class, I'm just going to say this right now, you want to have the Scabbard of Cariners, just because it lines up really well with a lot of cooldowns. Like for warriors, it lines up really well with Blade Storm and everything else like that. And so make sure that you have that if you're a strength DPS class, or even if you're a tank, maybe. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. Either way, and the next thing that's like, this is, I don't even know why I'm saying this, but you want to have flask and food and potions, because again, it's not like you can just get through this with shit with like a 300 sockets on it or whatever, that you're kind of like outgearing challenge mode like you did with Mists of Pandaria. The Warlords of Draenor challenge modes are, in my opinion, a little bit harder because of that. And so you want to make sure that you go in there with as good of a chance as possible. It's like you get that flask, that's 250 points. You get the potion, that's 200, that's 2,000, 2,000 points, 2,050, 2,500 if you're a tank, with bonus armor, converts into attack power usually. And so you really want to have all that stuff, have that prepared and ready to go into challenge mode. And it might cost a little bit of money, but your time is pretty valuable too. And so you don't really want to be spending all your time in a challenge mode, missing the timer just by a little bit or wiping just by a little bit because you can't kill the mobs fast enough and your tank runs out of cooldowns, you run out of time on a timer. There's 1,000 things that can go wrong that you can fix by having the flasks and the food buffs and everything. Obviously, if you're going for like world best times, you can use the augment runes, but I don't even know if you can even use those in challenge modes. Honestly, I have no idea. But maybe what's really important is the flask, food buff, and the potions. Like, come on, if you're not going to be using that, come on, come on. And I know, y'all can look at my old videos for the challenge mode guys. We were talking about those a minute. I don't use them in half of them, right? So it's not like it's going to make it or break it. It just helps, okay? So the next thing we're going to talk about is being prepared, okay? Because this is knowing is half the battle, right? I think it's like G.I. Joe or something like that, like He-Man. I don't even remember. Point is, you really, really need to watch videos. And so I'm not saying like, okay, I did my own guides, and I'll link to that on the video. But there are other people I know. A Death Knight did, the 8 of 8 gold, like probably even before I did, and he put up some of the videos about the same time I did. And so you can look at his videos, and there are tons of other videos. And what's really probably helpful for people, it's like, let's say you're a, I don't know, rep paladin. And so you want to go ahead and you want to look on, on YouTube or on Google or something like that. Search up, Red Paladin challenge mode. I don't know, like Auchentoon or something like that, or Iron Ducks. And so that's going to show exactly what somebody who's the exact same class and spec as you is doing. And so you can kind of, mimic that, because obviously if this guy's getting gold, he's probably doing a couple of things right. And so make sure that you do that. That's probably the biggest advice that I can give you guys, is make sure that you're prepared 100% with, watching all the videos, and you just know what pull you're going to use your cooldowns on, what pull you're not going to use your cooldowns on, or you're going to blow your cooldowns on a big trash pack, wait for a boss. A lot of different things that can happen, exceptions and all that other stuff. And so make sure that you're aware and prepared. So besides that, another thing, it's people said that, like, was it professions aren't going to matter? It's not true. If you're an engineer, I don't know if they fixed this or not, but whenever I did them, you can use your frag belt, and if you have a frag belt on your, like, I don't know, like your engineering belt thing, what that's going to do is you can throw that on like a group of mobs, and that stops them all from casting, and it also stuns them, and it's like a disorient. So if you hit them, it goes away, but it does stop the cast. And so like having that frag belt is just like ridiculously useful. Goblin Glider is also usable, but it's also pretty much useless. There's not really a whole lot of reasons to have it, and maybe shave off a couple of seconds on your run, and it doesn't even really matter unless everybody in your group has it, right? And so either way, another thing that's important is that you want to make sure that you have the Drums of Rage. Now, the Drums of Rage, what are those? They are pretty much just these leatherworking items, and you can click them, and they give you heroism. And so if you don't have a heroism, like let's say you don't have like a Beast Mastery Hunter, a Shaman, or a Mage or anything like that, well, you can have like this other thing, these like Drums of Rage, and there's also drums with like Scrolls of Fortitude and stuff like that to give your group stamina, and I'm pretty sure those work in challenge modes or not. I'm not entirely sure, but let me know if they do or not. Either way, you can use those, but the Drums of Rage I know for sure do work, and so you want to make sure that you have those just to kind of make things a little bit easier for your group, and because like a lot of them are actually kind of geared around, I guess, like having a heroism, and so you want to make sure that you're able to meet certain DPS checks and everything like that, or whatever other kind of check that you need to meet, and obviously heroism will help you do that. I'm pretty sure, like, I wrote down a couple of different things. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I talked about everything that I was going to talk about. The challenge modes in Warlords of Draenor are a lot more straightforward, and so that makes things a lot easier for you, but at the same time, they can be a little bit harder because you don't really have the same options and abilities and opportunities that you would have to use, like Stallion Warbanner and like the Rod of Amber Shaping. All that stuff is like not really usable in challenge modes, and so you don't really have those options, but I'm pretty sure like there's like one or two little items that you might be able to use, but they don't really give you like a really big benefit. So either way, guys, as I said, the three main important things are to have all of your flasks and food buffs and, like potions and all that. Make sure that you have the best itemized gear possible, because that's where you can really, that's the difference between, like, I guess, like being prepared for this stuff and not being, is like, having like haste versatility gear versus crit mastery gear if like you're a warrior or something like that. And so either way, and also, of course, the third thing is be prepared and watch videos. Like the watching the videos is probably the most important thing, because if you don't really know what to expect, know what other people do, it's gonna be really kind of hard to feel it out for yourself and figure everything out, on your own. So either way, guys, a lot of people have asked me about this, and I figured I'd make a video about it and just share my experiences and what I did. And so hopefully that'll help you guys too. So that's pretty much all I've got. Thanks for watching. I'm going to comment and subscribe.